So I will highlight the Indian banking sector because the banking sector is a dominant component of the financial sector. I'll focus on the banking sector and highlight how and where the Indian banking sector really needs to sort of improve. Let me start by giving you a parallel. If you now that because cricket is on, so let me use a parallel from cricket. The 1990s cricket team, and a cricket team that I grew up following, that was one of the early cricket teams that I followed, used to really disappoint cricket fans like me, because every time they were tigers at home, but when they went abroad, they actually used to just not fare well. In other words, in an international comparison, they used to be really poor. I think what can be said of the 1990s cricket team can be said about the Indian banking sector as well. That the Indian banking sector has things to claim credit for in the domestic comparison, but when it comes to international comparison, I think on most metrics, the Indian banking sector has miles to go before we sleep. Specifically, I'll actually talk about two, which is on both quantity and on quality. Let's look at from the quantity perspective. If you look at the credit penetration, and private sector credit to GDP, the ratio of that is used as a useful metric for credit penetration. In India, that metric is about 52-53%. So in other words, half of our GDP is amount of private sector credit. The average for the OECD economies is of the order of about 160%, which means we are 1/3 the average. Leave alone the top OECD economies, we are 1/3 the average in terms of the credit penetration. And if you take areas like the Northeast, in the Northeast, the proportion of credit to GDP is about 10%, less than 10%. So even this average of 50-odd%, hides a lot of heterogeneity, especially in the East and the Northeast. The ratio of private credit to GDP, is very, very low. So now, if you take the sort of a section of the country like the Northeast and compare it to OECD economies, even the average, we're about 1/15th, 1/16th of that average in many parts of the country. That's one way of looking at it in terms of the quantity. I'll talk about it in another way. If you look at the number of banks and just look at the scale of banks, right? In the global top 100, keep in mind that India is the 5th largest economy in the world. So the economic size, we are very large. The 5th largest economy, if the banking sector were proportional to the size of our economy, we should have had about 7 or 8 banks in the global top 100. And yet we have only one bank in the global top 100, and that's a 55th ranked State Bank of India. So our biggest bank is ranked 55th in the entire world, while we are the 5th largest economy. Countries that are a fraction of our GDP, 1/6 of our GDP, 1/8 of our GDP, like Sweden, Finland, Singapore, etc., they have banks that are at least as much, sometimes twice or thrice, the number of banks in the global top 100. If you look at any large economy, Japan in the 1980s, Japan had, in its heyday, had 18 banks actually in the, 18 of the top 100 banks were Japanese. Today, similarly, about 18 of the banks actually in the global top 100 are Chinese. Similarly, if you look at the United States, again, lots of, 7, 8 banks in the global top 100 are American. So, and this statistic, if you actually, and as we had shown in the last year's economic survey on the golden jubilee of bank nationalization, it's very clear that even if you control for population, if you control for the size of the economy, if you control for GDP, log of GDP, log of population, GDP per capita, any measure, India stands out as a negative outlier in terms of the size of its banking sector. Any measure, we're actually, we're far behind. Number one, starts on the quantity. In other words, credit penetration, has been really very poor. And in some sense, think about it, 50 years after bank nationalization, it was supposed to actually really generate financial inclusion. We are nowhere close to what 50 years back, countries like, Malaysia, which actually had, years, when we've had a primarily nationalized banking sector, countries like Malaysia have moved far ahead of us, in terms of the credit penetration. That's point number one. Second point is on the quality of lending. If you look at every time there is a banking sector crisis in India, whether it is in the late 90s, even early 90s, the problem stems from the bad loans that are given to the large corporates. Across the board, whether it's private sector banks or public sector banks, none of our banks have actually been able to figure out a robust, sustainable way of doing large corporate lending without having these periodic episodes of bad loans, which are in turn, either filled up by paid by taxpayers or depositors. This is a big quality problem. And when you look at, this is something that we had highlighted in the last year's economic survey as well. If you look at simple things, that willful defaulters do, related party transactions. Willful defaulters do a lot more related party transactions. For instance, they do related party lending, loans they give to the related parties. They actually end up, promoters in willful defaulters typically have a much lower stake because they actually pledge a lot more shares. Simple things like this, data that our banks can use to identify willful defaulters, and yet our banks have not done that. So overall, quality of lending, especially lending to large corporates, has basically been characterized by mostly, a lot of willful default, and the quality of lending is very poor. Whether it's actually, as we economists think about, banking and financial services have two key problems stemming from asymmetric information, what is called the adverse selection problem and the moral hazard problem. Neither the adverse selection nor the moral hazard problem our banks have actually been able to solve very well. And especially with the large corporates, you have both the adverse selection and the moral hazard. No country, in the world, no other country in the world is it the case where a company that has defaulted on its loans previously gets loans again. But in India, actually, there are groups like several groups, and I don't want to name any of them, but which have actually defaulted, serial defaulters, and yet end up getting credit. That tells you about basically the quality problem. So to summarize, I think quantity, our credit penetration is very low. Large sections of population do credit, and on quality, it is basically the large borrowers who end up actually swindling money away from depositors, from taxpayers, and our banks basically have done precious little about that problem. So as I said earlier, miles to go before we sleep for the Indian banking sector.
Yes, thank you for highlighting the qualitative and the quantitative parameters. Let me start with the quantitative parameters. And my follow-on question is this: if the big lenders are having problems, are not looking at the real picture, do you think the smaller lenders and the newer lenders are doing a better job? Can the country expect more from them in the near future?
Yeah, I'll make a distinction between newer lenders that are much more technologically equipped versus those that are not. If you look at the existing set of banks, especially among the public sector banks, the smaller banks have actually been far worse in terms of their performance. They've been the expertise in identifying good credit and being able to sort of address the adverse selection and moral hazard problems. The smaller banks have actually struggled far more than the bigger banks on average. Though there are bigger banks also have had problems, but as a percentage of their balance sheets, generally the smaller guys have had bigger problems. Partly also because it's the smaller banks that have actually not been as adept in in embracing technology. For instance, I'll point out some research. If you look at research around the global financial crisis, it's been shown that lenders that had that used a lot more data, analytics, etc., those lenders were the ones that actually had far less NPAs during the global financial crisis. Not only that, after the crisis, they were able to grow their balance sheets much better compared to those that did not have as good data architecture, as good analytics, etc. So I think what this illustrates is that technology can actually be a win-win, in being able to do much better lending, much higher quality lending, and as a result also being able to grow the balance sheet, grow in scale as well. But here's where actually I think the Indian banking sector and overall the financial sector itself has been very slow in embracing data, analytics, artificial intelligence, etc. I'll mention, when I did my BTech thesis back in the 90s at IIT Kanpur, I had actually worked on the application of neural networks to electrical engineering problems. Why am I bringing this up? Because neural networks was basically the precursor to artificial intelligence. So some of this, these technologies existed in the early 90s, albeit in the in research. But since then, many global lenders have actually used these technologies starting from the mid 2000s itself. Some of the leading banks have actually done that. Leading financial institutions have done that. Around this is basically around the mid 2000s, and yet we are in 2020, and yet many of our banks have actually and financial institutions are just still warming up to the possibility of implementing these. I think that's where the biggest sort of lagging really is in the embracing of technology, and because doing that can really help the financial sector. So those new lenders that are coming in who understand the power of technology, power of data, power of analytics, they will be able to do a much better job than those than those that are not using technology. In other words, the distinction we have to make is not in terms of new versus old or small versus big. The distinction we have to make is in terms of those that are technologically adept, are embracing the cutting edge analytics, etc., versus those that still are in the older era. I think that's where the key distinction really is.
Okay, that's great. In fact, that's what Finovity is all about. It is recognizing innovation. And the last few years, what we have seen that innovation is almost 99% is based on using technology and innovation together to create something new for the customer. Of course, most of the innovation tends to be at the retail banking level. So we're still not addressing the bigger opportunity and the bigger problem that you highlighted. But hopefully,
that's a very good observation. In fact, I was going to mention that as well. A lot of innovation that you're seeing is primarily on the retail lending side. But as I've highlighted, the key problem on the quality side that we have is on large lending, large corporate lending. So if you take loans above 500 crores, that's where the problem is. And none of the innovation that I'm seeing yet is actually, really looking at how to use data, analytics, etc., for these large loans. All the innovation is happening only around the retail loans. So your typical, 50,000 rupees or 1 lakh, make maximum 5 lakhs. That's the kind of loans. What I'm talking about is where we need to really be looking for innovation is in the loans above 500 crores, really large loans. That's where we really need the innovation.
I think that's inspiration to us at Banking Frontiers to start exploring how we can do something in the corporate loan sector, which will work, and we'll take your help also in that.
If you go and read this very nice book by Angus Maddison, what Angus Maddison did is he looked at the contribution to world GDP by different countries from 180 till 2080. Okay. Now, what is the salient finding that comes from that book? First, up until 1750 AD, from 180 to 1750 AD, in other words, 17 and a half centuries, India accounted for more than 1/3 of world's GDP from 180 to 1750 AD. In other words, for 17 and a half centuries, India accounted for at least 33% of world's GDP. Just to put this in perspective, the dominance, let's consider the United States, which all of us acknowledge today as the economic superpower. At its peak, the United States has contributed about 15 to 16% of world's GDP, half of that 33%, which was the minimum. And for how long? Half a century. US dominance on the economic side has been about half a century. So half a century versus 17 and a half centuries, at least 33% of world's GDP versus max about 16% of GDP. Okay, juxtapose these two facts and then see the kind of dominance that India had. Now, such kind of dominance, Mehul, does not happen through sheer luck or just by happenstance. Such kind of dominance happens because of the depth of the economic model that is followed in the country. And here's where actually the wealth creation, especially ethical wealth creation, that comes in. You go and read any of the literature or the scriptures either. What you'll find is in India, actually, this is part of our ethos. Among the 4 noble pursuits, wealth is actually recommended as a noble pursuit. Dharma, earth, kama, moksha, and earth is basically wealth. Similarly, we write in our homes, we write shubh labh. In other words, do good and in the process profit. So profit was never a dirty word, and it's unfortunate that for about 50 years, when India pursued the socialistic model, the profit, was taken to be a dirty word. In fact, it's on record that our first prime minister, when somebody mentioned the word profit, he said, "Oh, that's a dirty word. Don't, bring it up in front of me." But in some sense, therefore, wealth creation and ethical wealth creation has been part of India's DNA, for over millennia. If you go and read Arthashastra, you read Tirukkural, written in Tamil, my native language. You go and read there. Actually, for instance, in Tirukkural, the Saint Tiruvalluvar says that wealth is that lamp that really dispels the darkness of poverty. And this is written almost 3,500 years back. He talks about, in one of the other shlokas, he actually talks about how wealth is the easiest way, or becoming wealthy is the easiest way to destroy the pride of your enemy. And these are ideas actually from. So why is this important? Because this has been part of our DNA. Before the last year's economic survey, it's not as if economists have not recommended the private sector or wealth creation, but they have done that by appealing to Adam Smith and their descendants, without realizing that this has been part of India's DNA. Always has been part of India's DNA. And so when we respect the private sector, when we enable the private sector, when we think about wealth as an ethical wealth creation, as something that is good, that is salutary, we are just returning back to our DNA, and something that delivered such prosperity for us over a long period of time. 17.5 centuries is a long period of time.
And that's why we have Goddess Lakshmi as a goddess of wealth and a goddess. So by
Correct.
goddess is obviously a paragon of virtue of.
Correct. Yeah.
Do you have a message on how and what and how the younger generation, the fintechs, the startups, what they can do to enhance the lending and the banking business, particularly the SME and corporating part? Because I think most of these startups are focusing on retail, which is the easy. But
Yes.
can you give some guidance based on your experience, maybe in international markets, how
Correct.
we can start looking at bigger opportunities in corporate and SME?
No, I think that is where, as you have rightly pointed out, the challenge and therefore the opportunities are in using data analytics, technology, etc. in large corporate lending. When you think about the likelihood of default of a borrower, that is a function of two things, which is the ability to repay and the willingness to repay. So ability to repay, willingness to repay. Ability to repay is easier to assess, but that's something even there. Actually, I don't think enough headway has been made by the Indian financial services sector on being able to identify the ability to repay very well. So, for instance, things like related party transactions, data can be used from that. Things like financial statement quality. All these are actually good indicators. But there's also now, over the last 15, 20 years, a lot of research using qualitative parameters to assess the willingness to repay. In the Indian setting, especially on large corporate loans, the bigger problem is about willingness to repay. And, that is something which our fintechs need to really think about, think creatively. How can they get data to assess the willingness to repay? How do they build models, analytical models? And here one of the the key aspects or that banking literature talks about is what is called hard information and soft information. Hard information is quantitative stuff. Soft information is not necessarily quantifiable stuff. So I'll give you an example. When I joined ICICI, we were put through this 3-month training, and one of the senior officers then from large corporate lending, I still remember, actually, he came and he said that if somebody comes to ask you for a loan who's wearing a white pant, white shirt, and white shoes, never ever lend to him. Now I don't know how many people may not get this example, but when he was saying about white pant, white shirt, and white shoes, I am remembering Jitendra in the movie Tofa. He wears these white pant, white shirt, and white shoe and sings Tofa, 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 right? So I was thinking, why is this gentleman saying that, that we should not be lending to somebody who looks similar to Jitendra? What is he talking about? But when you actually think a little bit more deeply about that, there is a certain section that actually uses, that wears white. And may possibly be the one that has actually, that has the least willingness to pay because of the connections that they actually can exercise, etc. So this gentleman, what he was saying was very profound, but he was still saying it in a way saying, this is really soft information. It's about character. He has interpreted it in the using some dressing, right? But there may be indicators like this about that capture willingness to repay, and which is about character, which is about the about the values of the borrower. Things that actually are more qualitative, which people, loan officers have assessed by just interacting with them, talking to them, when the borrower comes, going and visiting the factories, doing like what is called a smell test, right? Does this, but this is where I think there's a lot of potential where, fintech companies can actually use a lot of research now in psychology, to assess these kind of things. For instance, the army, in the army, there is actually there are tests to assess, temperament, to assess character. And you don't get selected as a commando if you don't pass that test of temperament. So there are these kind of, some of that literature, I think, are fintech companies, especially those that want to crack this large corporate lending and is on willful defaulter, need to actually think about. And that's where really the challenge and the opportunity lies for the fintechs.
Do you recommend that apart from engineers, the bank should hire people with psychology background or sociology background or something like that for assessment?
So, I will not specify what kind of, skills to bring about, but I think our banks need to hire experts. I think that's the specialization is something that our banks need to respect. And actually hire people. If it is that, maybe for a particular project, they may not necessarily need to hire, but they could, give a research project, let's say to somebody, to an economics department or a social science department. But our banks actually need to really, use cutting edge research. And unfortunately, I don't think, enough CEOs read enough, about what is the cutting edge. I mean, this is something I've generally believed in. A CEO, should not be busy with the day-to-day stuff. That CEO's job is main to think and have everybody else do the work. And if you have to think well, you have to read a lot. I think that's something. So they have to think about actually what kind of people they need to hire, what's the kind of research they need to have done, and just create the teams to be able to do that.
Thank you, Dr.
Thanks a lot, sir.
So much. Wish you all the best. And let's be in touch.
Hi everyone, hope you're having a great time. Do not miss to visit our exhibit area. Our exhibit area offers an attendee an easily accessible and immersive way to view and experience the latest innovation in the BFSI sector. Do visit our exhibition stall and benchmark the latest innovations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Krishnamurthy Subramanian, the Honorable Chief Economic Advisor of the Government of India. It is vision of visionaries like you which is going to catapult India towards the growth trajectory in the near future, especially in times when the world is struggling and we are in the forefront to drive positive growth of the economy and the GDP in spite of all the troubles we have undergone in the economy. Thank you very much for your vision address, and let us now invite all the participants, delegates, nominees, yourself and everyone into the Finovity Awards 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment of honor for the innovators who have really gone out of the way to create some inspiring, exciting, secure, compliant and responsible innovations which have really made a wonderful mark in the financial services ecosystem. Friends, it gives me a great moment of pride to present this 9th Finovity Award as the publisher and founder of Banking Frontiers and Banking Frontiers Live. We have gone through a very stringent process, and this process was made more difficult thanks to the pandemic because we could not move out anywhere, and all these decisions, nominations, jurisdiction, enrollment, everything happened online. And it is really remarkable that such senior members of the jury comprising of former chairmen, former regulators, former IT CXOs and consultants have taken all the pains to go through these entries only online and then have a wonderful, meaningful and an exciting conversation with everyone, amongst everyone, to take the decision to identify the top nominations which should make to Finovity 2021. Trust me, friends, this year the entries have been really wonderful. And some of them were really out of the box as well, as remarked by our jury. I would now like to invite upon the jury members as well to share their nominations. Before inviting the members of the jury to this share their perspective, let me just put to you what we have done in this entire scenario. We had over 120 plus nominations that came to me, of which we could iterate and take 107 valid nominations into the jury meetings. We iterated that further to bring out the top 40 nominations which were inspiring to every jury member. We also requested every jury members to take a special look at least 20 nominations each, so that we don't miss out any of the gems that are inspiring to the industry captains. Amongst the top 40 which were carefully chosen by our process partner and by the collective decision of the jury, we had a fantastic brainstorming on what happened in these innovations, what details are there, what is missing, how inspiring it is, how compliant it is, how future proof it is, and how responsible it is. All these parameters were very beautifully considered, and we finally zeroed in on finding the top 20 nominations which made a great impact on the jury. We also identified 3 companies which got more than one nomination in their fold and decided to give them a super trophy. So for those companies which gave maximum number of great innovations that were inspiring, we gave 3 super trophies to them, and we have given a couple of Editor's Choice Awards to those innovations which did not make into the jury meeting, but we felt were very inspiring from the financial services ecosystem's perspective. So friends, this is what the process was all about. The team Deloitte did a very good job, and they toiled really hard to make sure that each and every nomination was gone through in detail, and we could handpick those gems and not leave any of those unpolished or polished gems away from your sites. While we have taken utmost care in ensuring that the best of the technology solutions, all the innovations would come to the fore during Finovity Awards, one of the most important highlighters that I would also like to share with all of you, that the jury has done the due diligence with whatever information is supplied to the jury and to the team at Banking Frontiers. We could not, however, in midst of all this crisis of COVID or otherwise, have any opportunity to go beyond what is there online or what is there as submitted in the nomination document. So we have trusted all the nomination as it is received by us and given the verdict accordingly. One more important thing is that we are providing a great platform for each one of you who want to learn from these nominations, understand what these innovators have done in a brief format in the form of a compendium. This compendium is being shared with all of you on our website www.bankingfrontiers.com as well as www.bankingfrontiers.live, which is our video channel, and we will be sharing a QR code for you for a quick download of this compendium. We hope that this compendium will be a useful yardstick for you in building up your newer innovations for the betterment of the system. With this, I would now like to invite upon my colleague, Mr. Dheeraj Mestri, who is going to be the host of the show throughout the award function and invite the respective jury members to announce the awards and honor our respective nominees who have won Finovity 2021. Thank you very much for all your wonderful support, participation, and look forward to have you us during the awards function. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to be part of this Finovity 2021 process. And I'm very happy that the banking frontier has been organizing this innovative program of recognizing the innovations among the financial institution for the last 9 years. And this year, it is also a matter of happiness to see that more than 160 entries have come. And in these entries, I'm very happy to find both the public sector bank and the new generation banks, as well as the private sector bank. And similarly, in the insurance industry, both the public sector, the new or what you call new generation insurance companies, as well as we found quite a lot of NBFCs, microfinance institution, regional rural bank. So this has aroused the interest of all those who are taking care of the innovation. And it is in the fitness of things that the banking frontier thought it fit to recognize the efforts of these institutions in bringing innovation to their customers. And in the current process as a jury, I am very happy to announce some of the awards which have been figured as the top in the category of 20 awards. Even though all entries are reserved to be recognized, but ultimately there must be something or somebody who should be figured in the top. One of the first I would like to mention is Central Bank of India. Central Bank of India on the financial inclusion space, by integrating all the corporates who are having as a BCs, more than I think 6,900 BCs, into an integrated platform, working and connecting to the NPCI and having the interoperability of the transaction, and ensured that these the customers or beneficiaries of financial institution get online information about the transaction. At the same time, the overall monitoring follow-up becomes easier. So this I found as one of the best in terms of the new initiative by the Central Bank of India. The second I found Union Bank of India is the figuring in the top. The Union Bank of India, always known for IT, what you call innovation. In the current process, they found it proper and fit that the to have online what you call monitoring of the early warning signal and what are those accounts. And instead of having the traditional mode by a predictive analysis, you could catch such of the systemic deficiency in the account much in advance, take corrective action, and thereby reduce the default ratio. So by using the modern gadgets of technology and following the mathematical mode of predictive analysis, they have devised this particular system. The next, of course, the third is the Indus Bank. Indus Bank, again in the private sector, they have used the mobile system for loan origination by taking all the data within the system available and integrated with external sources also, so that the customer will not necessarily to have more data to be applied. So it is a app in the mobile by which particularly in the vehicle finance, that is commercial vehicle and passenger vehicle, this through the application, origination and the process and a quick sanction in principle, are generated and informed to the customer. So the overall turnaround time have been substantially reduced, maybe even maybe a record in the industry. In that way, the Indus Bank has gone into the new requirement of catering to the auto sector. The last one is all of you that is Kotak Mahindra Bank. The Kotak Mahindra Bank normally may be aggressive in financing what you call the customers, and also providing them cost efficient what you call interest rate. And particularly when we find the public sector bank and other banks are competing in the personal loans and the vehicle loan and other whatever the loans relating to the personal segment, the Kotak Mahindra Bank thought that why not we ensure that the retention of customers by giving the e-mode of negotiated interest rate and getting effected by way of automatic sanction letter to the customer, and the overall turnaround time have been restricted not even more than 1 to 2 days, as against the normal process of communicating the revised rate of around 30 days. So it is a end-to-end integration and quick response to customers, and thereby the best of their customers are not taken or lured away by other competitors. So I am very happy among these various entries, these 4 in terms of my area, it has been figured. But of course, we have a lot of jury members who are well experienced, and they are going to announce the other names. Thank you, and wish the function all the best. And we would all participate to virtual mode. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to be associated with the initiative of Banking Frontier in promoting the innovations in the BFSI sector. As detailed out by jury chairman, Mr. Narendra, there have been large number of entries which have been examined by the jury, giving a focus on realizing the customer experience, the security, the operational efficiency, the economic efficiency, and based on these parameters, the jury has shortlisted. I have pleasure in announcing the 3 awards. The first award which I would like to announce is the HDFC Bank, who have developed a product for warehouse commodity finance on the mobile app. Let me tell you, as a banker, I may say that the warehouse financing as a product has been in the system for a long, but as a proportion of the pre-harvest finance is minuscule. And it's a great necessity in today's time that if we can promote the warehouse financing, it will help the farmers in realizing their price for the product in a proper manner. I wish that this product really promotes the post-harvest finance among the farmers. The second award which I'd like to declare is for State Bank of India for their project Shikhar. It's really a great project on data mining. As a banker, we have been talking about creating data warehouse, but usage of the data which is available in abundance with the public sector bank, I think State Bank has taken a great initiative to proactively identify that who are the eligible customers, whether they are having a credit history or not, and offer them the credit cards. And obviously trying to target the #1 credit card company in the system, given their total customer profile. I think it's a great initiative. I wish them all the very best. The third award which I would like to declare is for the Punjab National Bank for their product called Verify. I think we are experiencing a huge problem with regard to the financial crime, which are increasing every day into the system. On one side, we want the digitization to grow. People have to use, the customers have to use all kind of digital, the apps and whatnot. But then on the same side, I think the security has been the major issue. And PNB has rightly recognized that there is a great need for providing such a security, which is over and above the one-time password, which is passed on through the SMS, and which at times gets compromised, and there have been the financial crime. So I think it's a great initiative of Financial Bank to arrest the financial crimes in the system going forward. I wish them all the very best.
Good evening, friends and colleagues. I'm glad to be part of this highly qualified and committed jury of this Banking Frontier Awards. Enjoyed and learned a lot while processing more than 150 entries. As you know that I represent the NBFC sector, and very proud to say that India's growth story has been led by NBFCs. And here we see BFSI sector, the entire BFSI sector and the fintech companies joining together, working together under competitive collaboration. We have seen all the entries in details with my colleagues here. All are winners, as we said, but we have to select winner among winners. And I'm greatly proud to announce two winners among NBFC sector. The first among them is Bajaj Finance Limited, a leading NBFC in consumer loans for its highly cost-effective, transparent and elastic product and process, digitization of welcome calling of new customers. As you know, Bajaj Finance Limited is available all nook and corner of the country and perhaps bigger than many of the banks also. Compliments and congratulations to Bajaj Finance Limited. The second entry in the winning list is Avance Financial Services Limited, an NBFC which is pioneering education loans. This is a unique niche product and a niche company which has done education loans for the institutions, faculties, students, and infrastructure of schools and colleges in a big way. I again compliment and congratulate for the product, which is a winning entry, Enhanced Education Financing Solutions. Keep on doing good work, Avance Finance and Bajaj Finance Limited, or other entries which are done. You have done wonderful job in this pandemic times, and wish you all the best, and congratulations once again to all the colleagues, friends, and BFSI sector. Thank you.
Thank you, Maheshji. That was also fantastic. Super. Good. And thank you then. Ashwini, you want to come now?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's my privilege to be here on this occasion for Finovity Awards, which is being pioneered by Banking Frontiers. And this year has been a year where COVID was playing havoc. So a lot of innovations which we saw out of the 150, 60 innovations, a lot of them were to see how social distancing can be maintained, how social distancing norms could be adhered to. So wonderful innovations that were done. The jury went through all the entries, and Deloitte was the knowledge partner. So after a lot of churning, we have been able to select some winners who have brought out new products for this award. So the first award, not in terms of number, the award which I am announcing, the first award is for Tata Motors Finance for their lending chatbot. In this product, the customers can immediately have a decision on the lending, and they can know their eligibility for personal vehicles, passenger vehicles, and light commercial vehicles. So my best wishes to Tata Motors, and I am sure that they will come out with such innovations in futures also. Second award with me is South Indian Bank SIB fee book. This is a cash management product by Indian Bank, where customers can customize their cash management requirements, and the product's tagline itself speaks of the product. You decide, you collect is the tagline of the product. So a good product for customers who can customize their cash collections as per their requirement. Another award with me is for Fino Payments Bank, hyper local search. The customers face a problem of visiting a branch, locating a branch. So this hyper local search, they have got Fino Bank Payment Bank have got about 3 lakh points. So with this search, the customers can locate a point where they can visit, and at a average level, it is within 800 meters they can locate a point where they can visit, or the median level is about 250 meters. So big support to the customers for their banking needs. The fourth award with me is for Canara Bank for integration of government schemes with their ancillary products like insurance, travel insurance, medical insurance, and demat account. So a very good initiative by Canara Bank in this direction, where government schemes can also be linked to these products. So my compliments to all these 4 winners, and I'm sure they'll come out with newer products in time to come. And the challenge of COVID will bring more and more innovations in our financial sector. All the best, and I am thankful to Banking Frontiers for giving me the opportunity to be a part of this program. Thank you.
This year, it has been a significant milestone for Finovati Awards, given that the jury had to review more than 100 entries in the era of COVID-19. It was all done online, real time. It was a tough choice to find the winners. We saw how Digital India is shining in the BFSI sector. No sector has lagged behind in the finance world in the use of innovative solutions driven by digital technology. I'd like to thank Banking Frontier, the chairman of the jury and jury members, and all participants for giving me this opportunity and the stellar support provided by Deloitte. I've had the opportunity now to award 2 impressive award-winning entries. The first entry is from Computer Age Management Services Limited, known as CAMS. Those of you who are very familiar with the stock market would know CAMS is a very old company, been around for many years. And they have a solution known as Camspace. Camspace is a customer account validation solution in both stellar in volume and quality of delivery. With the launch of this innovative digital solution in a demanding customer base, they have used IMPS, Penny Drop, and UPA APA to achieve their goals. What is very impressive about them and why they deserve the award was they have actually validated 20 million customer details after launching this solution, which is less than a year. More than 100 crore wrong funded has been detected and avoided. Less than 1 minute is taken for onboarding and instant redemption of the new customers or the old customers, as the case may be. Loan disbursements and policy claims have been very fast through this system for the insurance sector. Of course, they service the mutual fund as well as the insurance sector. Plus, the icing on the cake is they had a 10 into business growth, which is fantastic. So they genuinely deserve the award, and congratulations, CAMS, on winning this award with the support of all my jury members. The next award I would like to present to a very aggressive company. They had a number of entries, and it is very tough for the jury to decide. And this is Bajaj Finance Limited, who seem to be another trailblazer in digital innovation. The product for which we are awarding Bajaj Finance Limited from the auto finance business is the digitalization of welcome calling new customers. The welcome calling of new customers is based on low use redefine customers
friends for maintenance fraud and digital payment.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nair, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. I am honored to be here and present the exclusive Innovative Awards 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, as there are numerous innovations happening in the BFSI sector, we do not have a set categories. Instead, we are recognizing the best innovation in the industry. And now, moving ahead with the further proceeding, I would like to invite our honorable jury member, Mr. M. Narendra.
One of the first I would like to mention is Central Bank of India. Central Bank of India on the financial institution space, by integrating all the corporates who are having as a BCs, more than I think 6,900 BCs, into an integrated platform, working and connecting to the NPCI and having interoperability of the transaction, and ensure that these the customers or beneficiaries of financial institution get online information about the transaction. At the same time, the overall monitoring follow-up becomes easier. So this I found as one of the best in terms of the new initiative by the Central Bank of India.
And to present the next award, I would like to invite Mr. Mohan Tansale.
Award which I would like to announce is the HDFC Bank, who have developed a product for warehouse commodity finance on the mobile app. Let me tell you, as a banker, I may say that the warehouse financing as a product has been in the system for a long, but as a proportion of the pre-harvest finance is minuscule. And it's a great necessity in today's time that if we can promote the warehouse financing, it will help the farmers in realizing their price for the product in a proper manner. I wish that this product really promotes the post-harvest finance among the farmers.
And to present the next award, I would like to invite Mr. L.S. Subramanian.
Computer Age Management Services Limited, known as CAMS. Those of you who are very familiar with the stock market would know CAMS is a very old company, been around for many years. And they have a solution known as Camspace. Camspace is a customer account validation solution in both stellar in volume and quality of delivery. With the launch of this innovative digital solution in a demanding customer base, they have used IMPS, penny drop, and UPA APA to achieve their goals. What is very impressive about them and why they deserve the award was they have actually validated 20 million customer details after launching this solution, which is less than a year. More than 100 crore wrong funded has been detected and avoided. Less than 1 minute is taken for onboarding and instant redemption of the new customers or the old customers, as the case may be. Loan disbursements and policy claims have been very fast through this system for the insurance sector. Of course, they service the mutual fund as well as the insurance sector. Plus, the icing on the cake is they had a 10 into business group, which is fantastic. So they genuinely deserve the award, and congratulations, CAMS, on winning this award with the support of all my jury members.
Moving ahead with the next award, I would like to invite Mr. Tatus Matthew.
Award goes to Dwara KGFS, which has narrowed down the focus of financial services around the household. And unlike many others who kind of have focused on the credit side of the business, they have looked at the strength of the household and how to determine household well-being. This is extremely critical as we kind of look at the question of low-income households building assets to enable them to reduce volatility of poverty-related issues or to reduce any other income-related deficiencies that might exist. In integrating both savings and credit and other financial products, Dwara has highlighted the need to rewrite the narrative on low-income households and the way financial services are provided. To that end, the technology backbone that they're developing is a first step in a long journey, and I hope that over the next few years we will see many more technology innovations around the building of resilient households and a variety of financial products.
And to present the next award, I would like to invite Ashwini Kumar.
South Indian Bank SIB fee book. This is a cash management product by Indian Bank where customers can customize their cash management requirements, and the product's tagline itself speaks of the product. You decide, you collect is the tagline of the product. So a good product for customers who can customize their cash collections as per their requirement.
And to present the next award, I would like to invite Ashwini Kumar.
Another award with me is for Fino Payments Bank, Hyper Local Search. The customers face a problem of visiting a branch, locating a branch. So this hyper local search, they have got Fino Bank, Payment Bank have got about 3 lakh points. So with this search, the customers can locate a point where they can visit, and they, at a average level, it is within 800 meters they can locate a point where they can visit, or the median level is about 250 meters. So big support to the customers for their banking needs.
And to present the next award, I would like to invite Mr. Mahesh Thakkar and Mr. L.S. Subramanian.
We have seen all the entries in details with my colleagues here. All are winners, as we said, but we have to select winner among winners. And I'm greatly proud to announce 2 winners among NBFC sector. The first among them is Bajaj Finance Limited, a leading NBFC in consumer loans for its highly cost-effective, transparent, trustworthy, and elastic product and process, digitization of welcome calling of new customers. As you know, Bajaj Finance Limited is available all nook and corner of the country and perhaps bigger than many of the banks also. Compliments and congratulations to Bajaj Finance Limited.
The next award I would like to present to a very aggressive company. They had a number of entries and it was very tough for the jury to decide. And this is Bajaj Finance Limited. Seem to be another trailblazer in digital innovation. The product for which we are avoiding Bajaj Finance Limited from the auto finance business is the digitalization of welcome calling new customers. The welcome calling of new customers is basically a validation of the customer's loan disbursed to the customer's existence, and used to be done by more than 60 people in the call center who have been otherwise assigned to other roles now with the use of this digitized solution. What they have achieved, Bajaj Finance, in this, for which they definitely deserve the prize, is the increased process transparency, getting customer feedback at real time, cost saving in terms of 0 calls from the call center to new customers for onboarding. And what is most spectacular, and I think this is the future of using technology in India, is the support for 11 local languages. 11 local languages is fantastic, because I think 11 local languages almost covers 80% of the population of India, okay, which is stupendous, right? And this is how we have to use technology. Irrespective of the language, the customer has to get this support. An impressive customer-centric solution with a full feedback process built in, and also gives this excellent customer business interaction. And hats off to Bajaj Finance Limited, and I'm very honored to present them as one of the winners.
Moving ahead with the next award, I would like to invite Mr. Aman Agarwal.
Namaskar, this is Professor Aman Agarwal from Indian Institute of Finance. It's a privilege and an honor to be part of the jury of the Banking Frontiers Finovity Award function. I would like to now bring to you this great innovation done by Axis Bank, which features among the top 20 innovations which is being rewarded and is being bestowed with the Finovity Banking Frontiers Award, is the one of Prayagraj Smart City. Prayagraj Smart City app is an application developed and facilitated by the Axis Bank to facilitate the functioning of various government bodies, different aspects of government bodies, which have been accounted for both on a financial and also on a non-financial basis. I think it is a very strong and an important tool in the building of a smart city of Prayagraj. I think well deserved, and congratulations to Axis Bank.
To present the next award, I would like to invite Mr. Anuj Bhargava.
Edelweiss General Insurance that has created a switch driver based insurance. So the interesting thing about this innovation, why we as jury found this very innovative, is this is the first time we've been hearing in India about insurance being charged to a premium paying person only when the car is operational, which means if the car was parked for 6 months, you would not pay the full insurance. You would pay perhaps a certain part of it or maybe none at all. The other thing was you could have the other flexibility in the policy is you could have up to 3 cars and 3 drivers assigned to each other in any dynamic manner to drive the car, which meant that there is a greater flexibility for the owner. A very friendly, innovative idea, which actually ensures the company when on road. When it's idle, you save money and therefore it has mass appeal. So kudos to the team that thought of it and the people who implemented it. Well done.
And to present the next award, I would like to invite Mr. Vijay Chuk.
Award goes to Fincare Small Finance Bank for developing an in-house system for paperless onboarding and awarding microfinance to women in the rural area. Now, as we look at the awards that have been given and the products that have been developed, it's imperative we understand that innovation is something very, very essential to a digital banking platform. One of the essential features they have developed is the onboarding of customers using eKYC. Now, this is an extremely essential way of doing digital banking. Onboarding digitally people in a virtual world, in a virtual manner, is one way of reaching out to the rural masses which were underbanked. And therefore, I think some of the efforts that these gentlemen and the innovators have taken will go a long way in joining Bharat to India. I wish the team of Fincare Small Finance Bank all the best in winning this award.
And to present the next award, I would like to invite Mr. Mohan Tangsale.
Award which I would like to declare is for the Punjab National Bank for their product called Verify. I think we are experiencing a huge problem with regard to the financial crime which are increasing every day into the system. On one side, we want the digitization to grow. People have to use, the customers have to use all kind of digital, the apps and whatnot. But then on the same side, I think the security has been the major issue. And PNB has rightly recognized that there is a great need for providing such a security, which is over and above the one-time password which is passed on through the SMS and which at times gets compromised, and there have been the financial crime. So I think it's a great initiative of Financial Bank to arrest the financial crimes in the system going forward. I wish them all the very best.
And to present the next award, I would like to invite Ashwini Kumar.
Award with me is for Canara Bank for integration of government schemes with their ancillary products like insurance, travel insurance, medical insurance, and Demat account. So a very good initiative by Canara Bank in this direction, where government schemes can also be linked to these products.
And to present the next award, I would like to invite Mr. Mahesh Thakkar.
In the winning list is Avanse Financial Services Limited, an NBFC which is pioneering education loans. This is a unique niche product and a niche company which has done education loans for the institutions, faculties, students, and infrastructure of schools and colleges in a big way. I again compliment and congratulate for the product which is a winning entry, enhanced education financing solutions.
I would like to invite Mr. W. Vijayvardhana to present the awards.
My final take, after looking at all the entries that have been submitted to this Finovity competition in India, and looking at the way that banks had and financial institutions had used the modern technology to provide a better service to customers, is also encouraging. The Bajaj Alliance thing, again, now it's an insurance company with a wider customer base, with a large number of agents, insurance agents, to connect them in a country like India in physical, by using physical means, is a gigantic task, specifically when the country had been locked down for a prolonged period due to COVID-19 pandemic. So given the particular bottleneck that has been faced by the firm, it has introduced a new method of connecting all the customers, all the insurance agents, collecting the premium, paying out the compensation, and updating the records by using high technology, which is a smart thing that has been done. And I endorse the entry that had been given by Bajaj Alliance Insurance Company.
To present the next award, I would like to invite Mr. Anuj Bhargava.
Winner is Aegon Life Insurance. Again, very interesting customer reach out initiative where they have developed a hyper personalized video, as they call it. They have built in about 1,000+ variations where they are able to personalize based on the character, meaning age or the demographic profile of the customer, or the sex of the customer, variety of these customers, the location of the customers, the kind of the policy of the customer, the platform, whatever they are looking at. So they have got 1,000+ variations, which is a fabulous kind of configuration, which has upped their customer uptake through this channel tremendously, and has solved query resolution to a very large extent, especially during sales, and clarifying what the policy is all about. So it's very nice that this has happened and people are very happy about it.
I would like to invite Mr. M. Narendra.
Indus Bank, again in the private sector, they have used the mobile system for loan origination by taking all the data within the system available and integrated with external sources also, so that the customer will not necessarily to have more data to be applied. So it is a app in the mobile by which particularly in the vehicle finance, that is commercial vehicle and passenger vehicle, this through the application, origination and the process and the quick sanction in principle are generated and informed to the customer. So the overall turnaround time have been substantially reduced, maybe even maybe a record in the industry. In that way, the Indus Bank has gone into the new requirement of catering to the auto sector.
Moving ahead with the next award, I would like to invite Mr. Babu Nair to present the awards.
Ladies and gentlemen, blockchain is one of the most sought after technology, and the more innovative uses that it is put onto, the more it has made things secure and comfortable and frictionless for the industry. The next award of Finovity 2021 goes to DCB Bank. This award is basically awarded to the bank for its blockchain innovation in the ATM transactions and in the ATM business. which makes the ATM more secure. Congratulations, team DCB, for bringing this interesting innovation into Finovity 2021. Thank you very much, Team Prasanna Lohar and Team DCB. Thank you. Congratulations to all of you.
And to present the next award, I would like to invite Sandeep Sonpatki.
The award that I'm going to announce is for Airtel Payments Bank for their SafePay product. And like all things digital, I think this is a very, very important innovation that they have come out with. And as we in the jury deliberated, it plays a significant role, because as more and more banking and financial services goes online and digital, it's very important that you keep the customer focus or customer perspective in mind, and helping them maintain that trust in the financial systems. Because as more and more digital transactions are happening, there have been instances of fraud also occurring, especially for customer segments who are not so technology savvy. And what this product really does is helps bring that control back into these customers who make or reject a payment, and which really helps bring that trust back in them, and will hopefully help drive a lot more adoption of digital payments, and which is what all of that we want. So that's where from these points onward, the jury thought that this product really made that impact from an innovation perspective, and that award goes to them.
To present the next award, I would like to invite Mr. M. Narendra.
The Kotak Mahindra Bank normally may be aggressive in financing what you call the customers, and also providing them cost efficient what you call interest rate. And particularly when we find the public sector bank and other banks are competing in the personal loans and the vehicle loan and other whatever the loans relating to the personal segment, the Kotak Mahindra Bank thought that why not we ensure that the retention of customers by giving the e-mode of negotiated interest rate and getting effected by way of automatic sanction letter to the customer, and the overall turnaround time have been restricted not even more than 1 to 2 days, as against the normal process of communicating the revised rate of around 30 days. So it is a end-to-end integration and quick response to customers, and thereby the best of their customers are not taken or lured away by other competitors.
I would like to invite Mr. Manoj Agarwal to present the awards.
Friends and members of the financial community in India, it is indeed my pleasure to announce another winner for Finovity 2021. This company, this winner, has chosen the most popular digital platform in the country, and that is WhatsApp. WhatsApp reaches around 40 crore Indians out of a total population of 50 crore Indians that own smartphones, as per the data supplied by this company. It really expects to make huge inroads into selling insurance products, particularly health insurance, to the population in India, which has really been impacted by the COVID crisis, and there's no doubt about that. Friends, this company is SBI General Insurance, and the jury has found it really impressed, and the jury is really impressed by their approach of leveraging WhatsApp to reach out and spread awareness about health insurance and to enroll customers into their family. Congratulations, SBI General Insurance.
And to present the next award, I would like to invite Monish Shah.
So it gives pleasure to announce our next winner in the product innovation category. And the winner is India First Life for the Smart Pay plan. So this plan takes into account hyper-personalization, that the customers can tailor their plan to suit their needs. So this proposition is win-win for customers because it's a perfect mix of disciplined savings. It has also got the benefit of liquidity and life cover. This is a very innovative product which has sort of changed the volumes for India First Life, but at the same time has met the customer needs as well. So hearty congratulations to the India First Life team for coming up with this product innovation.
And to present the next award, I would like to invite Mr. Vijay Chuk.
It's my pleasure today to give an award to Federal Bank for an AI-based digital lending platform. Now, AI-based digital lending platform is totally dependent on data. So I'm sure the team which has developed this product will ensure that the quality of data which is embedded in their systems and on the basis of which they will do the lending and identification of the beneficiaries is taken at a high level. It will require constant monitoring, and of course, it will go a long way in helping the bank build up a good portfolio of borrowers. So I wish them all the very best in their venture, and I hope this turns out to be extremely good for the rural masses.
And here is the moment we all have been waiting for, the Super Trophy. To present the Super Trophy, I would like to invite Mr. M. Narendra.
Union Bank of India is the figuring in the top. The Union Bank of India, always known for IT, what you call innovation. In the current process, they found it proper and fit that there should be a predictive analysis, and they must be able to have online monitoring of the early warning signal and what are those accounts. And instead of having the traditional mode, by a predictive analysis, you could catch such as the systemic deficiency in the account much in advance, take corrective action, and thereby reduce the default ratio. So by using the modern gadgets of technology and following the mathematical mode of predictive analysis, they have devised this particular system.
To present the next Super Trophy, I would like to invite Ashwini Kumar and Tatis Matthew.
Tata Motors Finance for their lending chatbot. In this product, the customers can immediately have a decision on the lending, and they can know their eligibility for personal vehicles, passenger vehicles, and light commercial vehicles. So my best wishes to Tata Motors, and I am sure that they will come out with such innovations in futures also.
Tata Motors for their chatbot. Transport is such a critical part of the economy. In fact, production costs typically are determined by transport efficiency. And the transport sector was one of those that had been very badly hit by the pandemic. And I'm sure that the macro number of 18% as determining transport costs in the macro economy has shot up. And at this point, nothing could be more urgent in terms of expanding our transport sector and making it more efficient in delivering goods and services across the country. And hence, Tata Motors' focus on building this chatbot, which kind of integrates a variety of databases and a variety of information that's both collected physically by their agents and that is available in third party, is extremely crucial in determining the speed at which processing can be done. As it is, any delays drive up costs of loan products or any other financial services. So any attempt to reduce that delay and to reduce customer and to increase customer satisfaction will certainly be very critical in determining the demand for financial services. And hence, I congratulate once again Tata Motors.
To present the third Super Trophy, I would like to invite Mr. Mohan Tangsale.
Award which I'd like to declare is for State Bank of India for their project Shikhar. It's really a great project on data mining. As a banker, we have been talking about creating data warehouse, but usage of the data which is available in abundance with the public sector bank, I think State Bank has taken a great initiative to proactively identify that who are the eligible customers, whether they are having a credit history or not, and offer them the credit cards. And obviously trying to target the number one credit card company in the system, given their total customer profile. I think it's a great initiative. I wish them all the very best.
Congratulations, team. And now, I would like to invite Mr. Manoj Agarwal to give the closing remark.
Friends, hasn't today been a wonderful day packed with diverse viewpoints, expert opinions, new insights, and deep learning? I'm deeply grateful to all our panelists and presenters for packing so much quantity and quality into so few hours. I also thank all our viewers and hope they will go back with their minds recharged with fresh ideas. I also thank all our technology partners. Hewlett Packard Enterprise and Savex Technologies are the title partners. The gold partner is Denovo. The cybersecurity partners are Akamai and iValue. The silver partners are Datamato and IBM. The associate partner is Avaya, and the exhibit partner is Acuity. My heartfelt thanks for our chief guest, Dr. Krishnamurthy Subramanian, for enlightening us with the big picture and suggesting the path that the industry must take to serve the nation. Our jury for Finovity 2021 deserves a loud round of applause for their efforts in reviewing and analyzing all the nominations to find the very best. Our awards partner Deloitte did a fantastic job in supporting the entire process and has won deep praise from the jury members. And heartiest congratulations to all the winners today. You cracked it. Best of luck to all the others who put in very competitive nominations. I really appreciate the industry for being frontline warriors in keeping the wheels of the nation moving. I finally thank the most humble of the warriors in the battle against COVID, the mask and the sanitizer. I wish you all the best, be safe and prosper.